can you see? Can you be seen in the video? Did you want to get featured in the video? Oh, look at him. He said, Dad, I want to look out window. We have a lot going on in this car. Diddly darn dang it! Cheese and rice. Frick! God bless America. Ah, cuss. What's up, fam and cheese? I'm hoping right off the bat that this video doesn't rock too much as I drive. Look at that. Look at y'all bouncing around. Today we are going on a drive. Now some of you will have heard of Corrie ten Boom. Corrie ten Boom was a very influential person in rescuing Jews from the horrors of the Holocaust. Now obviously you should check out the writings of Corrie ten Boom, but specifically, one of Corrie ten Boom's stories is how she learned to thank God for the fleas. She draws heavily on the writings of Paul in the New Testament, where in Philippians, he tells us to rejoice always. She basically tells this story where one night in the Holocaust, where they were being kept under watch, they were just being infested with fleas, and they were terrible. But Corrie, being Corrie, pressed on and wanted to thank God in some way for the fleas. So she was just asking God, give me something to be thankful about. You should read that story. I'm not going to retell the whole thing, but that's kind of what we're going for with Thank God for Traffic. When I was leading small groups, I remember consistently hearing the main thing that people wanted to work on in their weeks was their relationship with the traffic. Namely, we don't like how we have outbursts at it. We don't like whenever we overreact. Most of the time, it's what I like to call kicking the dog. Now, I don't kick my dog. He's back there. He's having a fun time. He's my riding buddy. What I mean by kicking the dog is those times where we take our anger, our frustration out on something that's entirely unrelated to the source of our anger. So we'll have a bad day at work, we'll come home, we'll kick the dog. And kicking the dog can look like a lot of different things. But in this, I'm focused on our relationship with traffic. I think those little outbursts that we have, those times where we maybe accelerate past the person too fast, where we maybe feel like getting a bit expressive with a certain finger, to use another car metaphor, that can kind of serve as a check engine light, like, hey bud, there's something else going on in your life. So right off the bat, there's something within traffic to thank God for. Thank you that you're showing me the deeper parts of my life through this surface level reaction, as not fun as it is. Not only can that serve as God's way of showing you what is going on beneath the surface, it can also help us to gauge if we're moving in a good direction with our reactions. I'm laughing because I heard this past Sunday a pretty fun quote. It said, what's the juice that comes out when I'm squeezed? As gross as that sounds, because humans are not lemons, I think it's helpful imagery to kind of gauge, like, what are those subconscious outbursts? Like, do we like that? Do we like how we're subconsciously outbursting? For my Christian audience, I can tell you that God's heart is to actually impact you on the level of being and not just on the level of conscious doing. What I mean by that is those outbursts, those are the product of everything else that we're doing. Like, it's not just that we have the excuse, oh, that wasn't me in that moment or something like that. On the contrary, our outbursts are the product of everything that we've been putting into our body before that. Speaking of traffic, there's a lot of it on this specific day, so I guess I picked the right day to record. At the very least, I hope this video can just encourage whoever out there just that God cares about those little outbursts and doesn't just plan to leave you that way if you'll buy into what he's doing. Now that we're a couple points in, I want to just take a quick pause to ask you to subscribe to this channel. My purpose in making videos is to provide a resource to the church and a witness to the unbeliever. I aim to do that in a couple ways. One, to unite niche groups under one name here, and two, to champion the voices of unseen people by providing them a platform. If you're confused on this, I have a video right up, I believe it's in this corner. But if this sounds like something you'd be interested in supporting either way, pretty much the only payment that I receive from this channel is just the joy of knowing that it's reaching ears and that it's making an impact. So I'd invite you to comment for now or subscribe for the journey. Either way, I'd love to have you along. Thank you for your support, whatever it looks like, fam and cheese. Now, let's get back into it. So now that I've talked a bit about kicking the dog and among other things, I wanted to address that this isn't a debate over like, can we be angry or can we honk? Like, how far can we go? That's not to debate this. I think that the nature of that question starts to get into the how close to the line can we get? You know, where does Kyle draw the line and how close to his line can we get? So instead of drawing that line of how angry can we get or how should we respond, I just saw a wreck happen, so that's fun. Y'all almost saw it on camera through this window. So instead of asking how close to the line can we get, I want us to be asking how close to Jesus can we get? Another way that we can thank God for the traffic around us is that it gives us a time to slow down and to breathe. I think it's actually kind of cool that I find myself in the midst of heavy traffic while I'm recording this, because it actually gives me a chance to slow down and record this video with you guys. The rest of our lives are so fast-paced and go, 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 go. And the fact of the matter is, traffic is just unavoidable a lot of times. Like, there's no way around this that I find myself in. And so there you go. There's a chance, an opportunity to slow down and be with God. And that's exactly what it is, an opportunity, which points the question, like, are we taking that opportunity? So praise God that you get the chance to slow down and breathe. This actually leads me into one of the last points that I wanted to make. As a starting place, I don't think it's reasonable for us to expect ourselves just to stop being upset, stop being upset at traffic. Instead, let's take the on-ramp. There you go. Instead, let's take the on-ramp that's available to us today. So if you can't help but being upset, then let's start by thanking Him in these ways that maybe I've laid out, or maybe ways that you can think out with God. I think thankfulness and adoration of Him is a big on-ramp to this. So one, I would start there, and the last thing I would say is to be a groaner instead of a grumbler. Some of you already know what I mean by that, but for those that don't, throughout the Bible we have descriptions of people either groaning to God or grumbling at God. So the grumblers are the ones in the negative connotations. They find themselves in the place of blaming God and of blaming those around them and of throwing everyone else under the bus. Another traffic reference. Whereas the groaners are the ones that groan at God in their hurt and in their frustration and all of this. Groaning makes sure that God isn't left out of the equation and that He's actually viewed rightly in the equation. Namely, are you frustrated with traffic? Well, God's not the issue. He's the only one that will give you comfort in it. So if it hurts, if you're frustrated, if you're upset, I would start by that adoration and thankfulness, trying that, and then move into groaning to Him. As we press into something like this, church, I think it's so needed for our formation as people and as Christians. I think we'll start to see not only ourselves react to the traffic and the situations around us a little bit better, but it'll help us outside the car. It'll help us love our families better. It'll help us not kick the dog. You're welcome, buddy. So thank God for traffic, and thank you guys for watching this video. Remember, leave me a like, dislike either one, and engage in the comments section. I hope to see you again, and until the next video, do everything you do wholeheartedly and with intention. Peace.
First, our guest says, don't give in to road rage. Stay calm behind the wheel and coolly plot your road revenge.
Well, how should you respond instead?
Yeah.
Take a deep breath, count to 10, then follow the other driver home. But you don't want to do anything that could get somebody hurt on the road. Instead, you should murder the person's next door neighbor. Now he can't escape death and he has no idea who you even are.
Oh, that is a great driving tip.